Hey, talking to myself, welcome to the podcast. I know that you gon' feel Dave Sands the second, talking movies and gaming, even anime. Yeah, I might just go Super Saiyan. 242, the Bahamas, we gon' rep. Don't be anxious about nothing. Philippians 4:6, sharing about my life, sharing about God's truth. Always keep it real when I'm talking to myself. Let's go.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Talking to Myself. Talking to Myself. Talking to Myself. Episode 33, 33 in Spanish. Just Google it so I know that is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, thank you so much for the support on the last episode. Truly appreciate it. We on the road to 100 subscribers. So if you are new and if you are enjoying the Journey series, please subscribe and do all that good stuff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we got one of the homies on the show. I've known him through research, through 12 years. I didn't even realize it was that long, so it's been a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my homie, my dog, Mr. Bryant Shepherd, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Here he is. Yes, sirree.
Hello.
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on?
Oh, man. Bro, first off, and I said it before we started recording, and there's only one way I could do this, and that is in the Kingsway fashion. I just like to say thank you for taking your time, your busy schedule, and I would like to present you with this virtual fruit basket as a token of my appreciation. But thank you so much for being here, bro. It really means a lot. How you doing, man? How are you today? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. Today at work was moist, to say the least. It rained all day. So
Moist.
I was pretty soaking wet, and I had a nice rub it up dub in the tub.
In the tub.
Jacuzzi with the brand new taps.
Yes, sir. In the jacuzzi, man. I'm glad it was a decent day, to say the least, even though we got a little moist along the way. But bro, as you may know from listening to some of the episodes, before we get into just some of the amazing parts of your life, just kind of want to do I call it like a recap of the week, if you will. As you kind of know from like personal conversations, like I look at life from the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, and so I kind of want to go through that process with you. I don't know where moist kind of comes in that. But yeah, bro, how are you doing in those aspects? And yeah, just how are you doing in general?
Physically, I'm doing pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The new job has me lifting 50-pound ladders up and down. So the
shoulders looking
and the
broad.
triceps, the shoulders,
Yes,
the upper
yes,
body
sir.
is getting a little bit swelled in there.
Absolutely.
So the physical is doing pretty good, and I do men's basketball every once a week, so get my cardio in that way.
Oh yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
doing good there. Mentally, I'm doing good as well. Can't lie.
That's good.
Doing pretty good there, and spiritually, also doing pretty good there as well. Been going to church, been reading my Bible, sharing the word with my
beautiful
my attendees to my men's basketball. So yeah, good, man.
That's awesome, bro. I'm glad all those things are going well, and I forgot how good you are at ball, bro, because back in the day, and we're going to get to Kingsway at some point, but bro, you was draining threes from then, and you could still do that now. So your shooting probably got even more elite over all these years.
I was Curry before Curry.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Dog, we need you on the Lakers. That's a whole nother topic, bro. We need you in LA right now. My goodness, we need to get it together. But I'm happy that physical side's going well, the mental and the spiritual is going well. I guess for me, physically, still keeping some workouts in, you know. I think I'm on pace to hit 19 workouts for the month of February. So that's not too bad. I wanted to hit 20, but I was lazy one day. So we'll get it in March. We'll get it in March. But kind of like you know, I guess I'm not lifting 50-pound louders, so I'm lifting much lighter stuff. But, trying to keep the physical up. Mentally, I'd say mentally I'm okay as well. This week, I don't know. This week has been going slow, bro. I don't know how it's been feeling for you, but last week went by so quickly, and now we're still on Wednesday. Like, if this was last week, I probably would have been on like Saturday right now, dude. It just
Bro,
feels like such a long week. I don't know
I still
why.
got 2 more days of work.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
I
like,
feel like I done put in a month worth of work this week. So
dang, that's how it feels. Oh my goodness, bro. It's just one of those weeks, man, where you kind of have to, just kind of gotta get through it. But by the grace of God, we will. And it's still a blessing, to be employed and to be able to provide a living for yourself. So I never take that for granted, for sure, bro. And then this spiritual side, just like you, man, trying to stay in the Word every day, trying to spread the gospel where I can, encourage people. Obviously, you were one of my inspirations for that, and we'll get into that as well. But yeah, bro, overall, life is good. Can't complain. Glad you're doing well, my guy, and I'm glad we're both doing well. But I am now ready to dive into you, bro, because there's just so many routes we could take. And I don't want to jump directly to Kingsway, because for those of me who don't know, that's where me and Brian met. We met at our high school, Kingsway Academy. But what I realize is I don't really know much about like your early days before Kingsway, like probably like before you joined KA, or even like your primary school days. Because I think did you join in high school? You can correct me if
yeah,
I'm wrong.
I joined Kingsway in grade 7.
Grade 7. Okay. So I just want you to kind of tell me about, growing up, what that was like for you, maybe like your early childhood days. And yeah, bro, I just kind of want to learn about like what was Bryant, I guess, under the age of 13, like what was kind of like life for you back then?
Well, coming to Kingsway changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause prior to Kingsway, I went to a school called Faith Temple Christian Academy. It's no longer a school anymore.
Real?
They went out of business
Oh yeah.
back in
Oh yeah.
the 2011 2012
Mm-hmm.
school year. After that year, I think that was it. But yeah, that's where I went from K5 to grade 6.
Yeah.
And anyone that has went to that school knows that it had its bad points, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
you were getting top education.
Wow.
They were feeding you spiritually. They were bringing in your DJ counselors and your Christian
Yeah.
masses to come
Oh,
perform and whatnot,
wow.
and
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so elementary school, uh, I was a straight A student,
Jeez.
or like 4.0, like every like every report card.
Yes, sirree.
How? I don't know, because I don't remember studying ever. And yeah, so I
It's
had
hilarious.
straight A's, 4.0, the known as the quiet kid.
Yeah.
Teachers loved me, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kept a really small group of friends,
Mm-hmm.
just like today. In fact, most of them are still like in my close friend group.
Yeah.
Uh, and we pretty much just hung out.
Mm-hmm.
We got in trouble, not a lot, but
When we
enough.
did. When we did, we got in trouble
because
though.
we played basketball. We occasionally played baseball. I mean softball and
Yeah.
football. But
Mm-hmm.
our playtime of choice
Oh.
was wrestling.
Oh
Just
boy.
so
Yeah.
like
Okay.
professional wrestling, like
Ah,
like your John Cena's,
WWE.
attitude
Yeah.
adjustments, your
Exactly.
rock bottoms and Stone Cold Stunners, and needless to say, the faculty at Faith Temple did not appreciate
They weren't
seeing
fans.
boys fighting.
Jeez.
Although we weren't going to actually hurt each other,
Oh, we're just doing
but
the moves.
we were just doing the moves. You're playing. In fact, we were fighting as if we were like video game characters. I don't know if you played like the old SmackDown games, but in order to do a finisher, you had to like kick them in the gut.
And
So we
then
kick each other, we kick each other in the gut, and then say, "Oh, I'm going to give you an attitude adjustment." Okay.
oh,
Oh yeah, sometimes it didn't feel great because we played right, like in the soil. So
that's what I was gonna say. I was thinking you guys were like on the court, and that would even be worse, like on
no,
concrete,
no,
bro.
we were
I
in
was on.
dirt, like grass
Okay,
and dirt,
still
and
painful, but like
still
at
painful.
least it
Yeah,
kind of lessened the blow a little bit, though. Golly.
yeah, yeah. And back in that day, if you got in trouble, you felt. So
Oh, the lashes,
yeah,
the
yeah.
belts.
Now, if you ask any of my friends that I grew up with,
Mhm.
I never received said lashes.
Really?
I would always be there when everyone got in trouble, but they would never call me to the
That's
office.
hilarious.
I don't know. Teachers like me, quiet kid. They didn't think, nah, no, no way, Brian.
No
There's
way
some block.
Brian could have been hitting the attitude adjustment on his
I was
homies.
like
No way.
Vince McMahon, bro. Like I was like bringing like this dry eraser board and be like, all right, this guy's fighting this guy at break time. This
Bro,
title match
what? You were putting
time, like
together matches?
legit.
That's hilarious, bro. Wow. Okay, I
Yeah.
did not know that. That's amazing. And I'm really glad you brought up, I guess, those times because obviously, when I mean, I don't know about you, bro. Like elementary school now and even high school, it feels so long ago. Like that feels like a totally separate life. Like I don't even know who like Dave was. I don't even know. Like I look at old photos, I'm just like what? Who is this guy? You know? But
Mm.
I'm happy you brought up WWE because I wanted to know like for those who may not know, Bryant, I think it's safe to say you're a big WWE guy. You've been watching the product for years. This is the person I go to when I need to know who's gonna win Royal Rumble, who's gonna headline WrestleMania. I go to Bryant, ladies and gentlemen, because he's been watching WWE for so long that he might as well just be in the writers' room himself. 9 times out of 10, he's getting that thing correct. And you've been correct on Royal Rumble recently,
For
which
like the
was
last 12 years.
like the streak is nuts. Like honestly, like you're on like Undertaker level streak right now in terms of being correct with
If I was a
predictions.
betting man, I would be quite
Right,
rich.
exactly. So like, do you remember like what got you into WWE, or even like like the first match that you watched? Like, what hooked you on? Like, obviously the games, amazing back then. Like I remember like PSP times, bro. Like those games they never miss. They never did any wrong to me personally. So
Agreed.
like for you, like when do you remember like your first introduction to WWE as well as like, what kind of hooked you back then?
Well, I would say shout out to my dad for this one because
Bryant Shepherd.
yeah, he definitely put me on the wrestling. I
Yeah.
don't remember what age, but the
Mhm.
earliest match I can remember is actually a classic. Uh, Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in the Cell. When Mankind thrown off of the
Oh.
cell through the announce table.
Mhm. Oh, that's
That's the first match I remember ever watching. Uh,
wow.
but there was like a time period between that and a few years where then I didn't watch like any wrestling,
Yeah.
but I was still like a wrestling head. Like my dad would tell you stories that I used to come up to him as little 5, 6 year old me. Daddy, daddy, I want to bald my head so I can look like Stone Cold. Like I was that deep, and like you could see like
What?
pictures of me at 5 with like a big Stone Cold shirt. I was a big Stone Cold kid. Like, apparently, I have no memory of
Wow.
this,
Yeah.
but I would say when I have conscious memory of getting into wrestling would be or I would say around 2003, 2004
Yeah.
when when Brock Lesnar was the champion and Eddie Guerrero had beaten for the title. I think
Ooh.
after Eddie beat him for the title, I think I
Yeah.
started watching weekly,
Like what
and
was
that
that
was
when he had
just
like his big celebration?
oh
Like he
yeah,
had yeah, I remember watching that, bro. That was crazy.
yeah, and that just became a weekly thing I did, and all my friends that I wrestled with obviously were watching the same show,
Absolutely.
so we all talked about it all week long until the next show came up.
Wow. Yeah, man. I
I
mean,
would say that's what hooked me, and then the wrestling games, obviously.
games were awesome, bro. Absolutely awesome. And so, I mean, I was gonna save kind of some of these points for later, but since we're here, we're gonna talk about it, bro. So, I was watching. I don't know if you know who like Chris Van Fleet
Hmm.
is. He's
Hmm.
yeah, he's like the wrestling. He's like a wrestling podcaster, right? I don't
Yep.
remember which episode it was, but and I don't remember who he was talking to. Maybe it was Chris Jericho. I'm not sure. But he was basically saying how this era of wrestling may be the best era, right? And he
Hmm.
was saying that in the sense of like, okay, of course, we have WWE, which I think most people know about. And obviously, now, if for those who may not be wrestling fans who may not know what's going on in the industry, there's this other company called AEW, which I think we could say kind of flipped the wrestling industry on its head because now we got competition. Right before it was WWE, and then I guess you could throw in New Japan. But if we stick to it in like in the US, like it's now WWE and AEW, right? And
Hmm.
so what does that mean? When you got competition, well, you have to have the best product now. So us as the consumers, we getting big time stuff now. Like we're
Hmm.
getting hopefully the best product every single time because they're competing with each other. So in your professional wrestling opinion, do you think that we are in like the best era of wrestling right now due to the fact that there's I guess more competition and wrestlers are going from one company to the other. Like, what do you think? Like, obviously we have like back then like the Attitude era, and like that's where most of the legends come from. But what do you think? Like, are we in like the best era of wrestling right now?
So my opinion on that is 100% in the top three,
Mm.
like without a doubt. Um, you take nostalgia out of the equation,
Okay.
and you have a strong argument for the best where era of wrestling we've ever seen, because you look at, let's talk statistics, money,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the views. They're selling out every building they go into,
Arenas, bro. Oh my
arenas,
gosh.
stadiums. They're going to different countries selling out. Even AEW is doing it.
Ex-
It's not
yeah,
just WWE anymore.
exactly, bro.
So
Exactly.
and also with nostalgia, looking at the old school wrestlers, they didn't have as tight of a rules system on like drugs and stuff like that.
Mm,
We were having wrestlers for maybe 5 years tops. Like,
yeah,
really think about it, like the Attitude Era was only like 4 years.
true.
Like Stone Cold and The Rock, that was like 4 years. Like, but now we're in an era where they're so tight on that type of stuff, and you got guys that grew up around the same age as us, where they're for the most part straight edge and family men, family women, and
Yeah,
they just want to be put on good shows.
yeah.
And I think that puts a competitive nature, adding on competitive nature, you're getting the best product that
Mm,
I think we've seen in decades,
yeah. I
like
agree. Yeah.
genuine decades,
Yeah, bro. And
especially
like,
the new
and,
creative, the
ooh,
from the top from the top down, everything is brand new. Everyone is reinvigorated to put on the best products that they could possibly put on. So
absolutely. And bro, when you kind of mentioned like they're selling out stadiums, like literally they had a elimination chamber in Australia, I
yep,
believe it was. And
Perth.
I mean, yeah, in Perth, I didn't get a chance to watch it. That's not one of my favorite PLEs, but when I was looking at some of like the highlights, I mean that place was packed, like
Oh yeah.
packed, bro. Now the real question is, they gone to Aussie. They've
Mhm.
gone to was it Puerto Rico with Selena Vega. And was that Puerto
Yep.
Rico? Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Is WWE Bahamas out? Are we in the realm of possibility for that? Because obviously we got our own big boy stadium, and even later on this year we got like world relays, right? Why don't they just come over? Bring them here. Trouble in Paradise, Kofi Kingston. Why not? Do
Funny
you
you'd
think?
say that.
Do you think that's possible?
I was just talking to my wife, shout out to my wife,
Shadow
um,
Page.
about this actually, because like you said, you've noticed that WWE has started traveling to different countries to put on these big shows, and I thought about it. I was like, well, Nassau has a pretty big stadium. I don't
We
know how much
do,
people fit in said
but
stadium, but I think it's a few thousand, at
we could get
least
a couple.
20,000.
And then
I
think of the
think.
tourism, right? People would fly over for vacation, and then the
I
economy
think
would
they
go
would.
up.
So I think I don't think it's in the foreseeable future,
Yeah,
but do
I
I think it's a possibility? Yeah.
I
I
think
think
so.
I think you get the right person, uh a right person in Triple H's air, or in the right person's air, and you may get someone, because we were very close to having our first Bahamian WWE superstar,
Yeah.
Alexis
Yes, young lady.
Gray, I believe her name
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was just released with the
Sadly.
last patch,
Mm-hmm.
but if she was able to stay on him, maybe she gets back there one day and becomes a big enough star that, hey, maybe we go to her hometown and put on a big show for her like we did Rhea Ripley.
Dude,
Who knows?
that'd be nuts. Like the amount of dollars that would have to get spent on tickets. Like, there's no question. Like, I have to get front row. If not on the floor, bro. Someone gotta dap me up. Something, bro. And I think you would fly back home.
I would,
I think you would fly
100%.
back home. You and wifey would come back to the home, and bro, that'd be like a spectacle. And imagine like pyro there. We could do pyro there too, easily,
Oh,
easily,
100%.
easily, bro. It would. Oh my goodness, I get excited thinking about it. But yeah, bro, there's just so much enjoyment that comes out of WWE. And I'm glad that the product is definitely getting better. But kind of switching topics, just a brief bit. I know when you mentioned your childhood, you kind of talked about how it brought up, they had like was really faith based and Christian base. Um, was that did you get saved at your school, or do you remember like the first time that you kind of accepted Christ as your savior? Like, was that kind of in the early stage of your childhood, or more, I guess, in the high school days? You think?
Well, I think for most Bahamians that went to Christian schools,
Mm.
I think we've all been saved multiple times. But
Multiple altar calls. Yup.
multiple altar calls.
Yeah.
But the first time I went up to the altar probably was at Faith Temple. But
Wow.
the first time that I went up where I can remember that it meant something was at
Mm.
my church. When there's a pastor from Atlanta. I don't know if he's still based in Atlanta, named Pastor Battle.
Mm.
Uh, he came to do a special conference at my church, and his daughter came to do a special conference for the youth group.
Right.
At the time, it was a youth group, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what her message was, but I was I was into it. I was feeling the Holy Spirit,
Absolutely.
and then my parents wanted to leave like early because my mom only went there to she was in choir. She was like, I'm singing, and then I gotta go home. I'm tired. And like she came to the door and was like, come, it's time to go. And I was like, we started walking to the car, and I'm like, I kind of want to stay if that's all
Ooh.
right.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? I was like, I want to stay. I want to finish here with Pastor Battle has to say. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, if you could find a ride, sure. I like start asking all my friends who like, yeah, can I get a ride? Get a ride? Yeah, yeah, you're good. So I'm getting a ride, and I end up staying, finishing hearing the message, and I went up and that's the first time I can remember intentionally
Yeah,
giving my life for sure.
that's beautiful, man. What a story. What a testimony. Like kind of, and that's interesting that you kind of like knew like like you felt like okay I needed to stay because I felt the presence of the Lord. I felt like I need to hear this out, and look what happened, man. You got saved, and that's such a beautiful thing. I'm trying to remember. um I think for me the first time when I think I truly accepted the Lord as my savior. I think it was what grade was that? I think that was grade 2 actually. I don't remember how it came about. It was just I was in the car, my dad was driving, and I was just like, how do I get saved? And then he literally told me how to get saved. And so we pulled on the side of the road. Um and then I don't remember what I said, but I said, accept Christ as my savior, all those things. And that day I was saved. And I remember he like hugged me and then sent me off to school, and we kind of celebrated over the weekend. So yeah, I definitely could really relate to you, bro. Like when you kind of know that it's time, the I think the Holy Spirit will reveal um himself to you, and that's such a beautiful thing, bro.
Mhm.
See, boy, I told you, bro, I was so excited to learn about your story because I didn't even know that part of it, bro. So that's such a beautiful thing. So we gone we gone to elementary days, we got your early days as a Christian, and we talked about WWE. And
Mhm.
so now I want us to kind of jump to where we kind of met, uh which was in well me being grade 9, you in grade 10. For those who may not know, Kingsway, I don't know if they still have it, they may do, but they have this thing called an accelerator program. So basically, um the accelerated program be basically like if I'm it starts in grade 9, and so I'd have classes with the grade 1 ahead of me. And so I met Bryant. I would like to say it's the accounting class.
100% the accounting class. You
I,
sat right next to me.
yeah, we sat in the front actually, like we were deep in the front, which is
I
interesting.
sat in the front in every class intentionally because my parents would ask the teachers during
If
parent
you
teacher
said
conference, where
oh
is he sitting?
wow. Okay, did not know that either. But yeah, I remember that, you were kind of like we were in the middle, so you were on the right, I was on the left. I don't remember like the first conversations we had, but I know that, I just saw you a lot, and we kind of like started our conversations there. And I don't know if you think about it like this, but I want to say that you were kind of the connector for how like our friend group at Kingsway came together, right? So I'm gonna paint the picture for everybody listening. So I met Brian, like I said, in accounting class. We have our other friend Romaine, who came to Kingsway, I believe, in grade 9 as well. Funny thing is, I don't remember talking to Romaine. I think you did. I don't remember how you and him started talking, but you did. And
Oh, there's
then
a story there.
and that we could get into if you want to talk about that story. And then one of our other friends, well, Domi's cousin, and then me and Romaine's friend. Um, Domi obviously through family, and so then you kind of brought him in, and then eventually Domi joined in grade 10, I think, and then that's where we formed this thing called the team, bro. The team,
Hmm.
and boy, did I love the team. Still love the team to this day. But I don't know if you ever thought that you were kind of, like I kind of see you as like the person who kind of like throw the seeds out, if you will. You were able to like create something beautiful. So I guess yeah, you could kind of tell me how did you kind of put this together unintentionally?
Well, so like you said, I knew Domi for years. He's been considered my best friend for like
Years,
as
bro.
long as I can remember. And uh for Romaine, the story for Romaine. So I had zero intentions of being friends with that man. So so
oh,
my
he
girl
needs to watch this one. This is
my
gonna be so
girlfriend at
good.
the time. Oh no, my ex-girlfriend, but we were still talking like
Sure.
maybe on chances of getting back together. She had a thing for guys that play guitar. And
yeah.
here's
Okay.
the guy to the school that plays guitar.
Mr. Bass, yeah.
To tell me, oh, he's cute. Let's hang out with him. So we hang out with him. I'm like, this guy.
I can't stand
You're
this guy.
gonna... And then one day we were hanging out with him, and he just randomly asked if he could come have a sleepover. And I was just like,
I guess.
like, sure, I guess.
Oh my
And
goodness. That's hilarious, bro.
yeah, so the sleepover happened, and I found out that he's one of the greatest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's keep this guy around. I like him.
Yeah. Wow.
Push the girl to the side. Let's keep Romaine. And then so yeah, and I knew he liked music.
Mm-hmm.
And Domi has always been musically inclined.
gifted.
Like,
Yes. Time.
all right, you and you will probably get along pretty good.
SpongeBob meme.
Just gotta figure out how to get you guys to meet. And during a sleepover, Romaine came with me to church, and they met. And that's how them two became friends. And then we get to you, and you were in my accounts class. You're probably the only person I talked to in the class.
True.
And I think it was Fiesta. That one Fiesta.
There it is. Yes, sir.
That, I was hanging out with Domi and Romaine. I brought them, and we ran into you.
And we came together.
And we all just kind of stuck together the whole day.
Yeah, we did.
And that's kind of where it started for us four right there. Really, was the Fiesta.
Absolutely. And that was where I was hoping you would go to, bro. March 25th, 2012. That was the first photo we took. I'll just pop that up on the screen so people know. Bro, that pic is so hard to this day. That is by far the toughest pick because it was the first one, bro. Like I didn't know Domi that well. I knew a little bit about Romaine, and me and him got closer because we went to he was there before, Domi came and joined in grade 10. That's why I really met Dom, and then that's when we really joined, bro. Like, that photo is something that remains to me because I consider y'all like my childhood friends, bro, because man, we went through a lot during those times, a lot. Now, the question is, do you remember what camera you use? I think I found the model, but do you remember the camera you use?
It was a purple Kodak. I don't remember what it exactly it was.
From what I think I found, it was, like you said, it was purple. It was like violet, right? And I zoomed in to kind of see how close I was. Like in that photo, I think it was a Sony CyberShot DSEW 570 16.1 megapixels. That's the closest I could. That's the closest I could get to that. Like the build, and it makes sense because I think that came out in like 2011, 2012, and then the lens was silver, so that may have been. I think that may have been the model. But bro, that camera put in work. That camera put in.
That's what I started my YouTube channel with.
Bro, that thing put in so much work. And we're gonna get to your YouTube channel, bro, because man, that YouTube channel was beautiful. But I would classify that era, and I think a lot of people would, as the swag phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the snapbacks, that was the jumping over our leg, which if we do now, rush me to the hospital, ladies and gentlemen, because we about to swing and a miss.
Last time I did that, I landed on my face. Never did it again.
Exactly. I haven't done it since I probably did it and ripped my pants in like university, bro. I was just like, that's the first and last. I'm not doing it again. We also had, do you remember Foxtails?
Yes.
Bro.
I still have mine.
You do?
Yeah, somewhere in my house.
Bro, I remember when I was away, just with the fam, I don't remember for what reason. I think I walked past Hot Topic and they were showing the foxtail, bro. And at the time, I was just following what everyone else did so I could get likes on social media. And
Mhm.
bro, you should see how quickly I bought that foxtail from Hot Topic, bro. Boom. And then we clip those things on the side and you put your snapback on the side. That era man, that era was so different. But you mentioned your YouTube channel, and I think
Mhm.
people don't understand how how funny that YouTube channel was, bro. I want to know first off. Obviously, you said you grew up as a shy kid, in your earlier stages, and you mentioned obviously that when you were at Harvest back then, that you were also involved in drama and things like that. So before we get to your YouTube channel, like what brought you out of your shell to say, all right, um, I kind of just I'm discovering who I am, and then eventually say, you know what, I kind of want to start doing YouTube. Like what brought you, to that point?
I think you mentioned it right there. It was the drama team that
Mm.
I joined at my church. Um, my mom originally joined it.
Wow.
I had no interest in joining drama whatsoever. My mom originally
Really?
joined, and she went for maybe a week or two,
Hmm.
and then Domi invited me
Oh
because
yeah.
he was a part of it for a while, and he invited me. I was like, sure, I'll check it out. And
Yeah.
then I ended up loving it. I ended up staying there all the way from that would have been 2010,
Yeah.
maybe, all the way up until I moved to Canada. I was a part of the that drama team, and I would say I would definitely link that, and my parents probably would link that too to when I actually started to break out of my shell a little
Hmm.
bit more. I found out, oh, maybe I am kind of funny.
Yeah, bro.
And at the same time that was happening, uh YouTube was kind of building itself,
Oh yeah, it was.
and you had people like Ryan Higa and
Mm.
Ray Williams Johnson,
Mm.
uh your Smoshes of the world,
Hmm.
leading the pack. And I watched them all the time, and I was just like, I wonder if I can become a YouTuber. At the time, YouTube had this section where you could see the list of the top subscribers, and you could see how much subscribers everyone had.
Wow. Hmm.
And I was like, I think I might have a chance.
Oh yeah.
I don't see any other Bahamians doing this.
Ooh.
If I start now and I'm consistent,
Who
maybe.
knows? Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's kind of where it started. So I started making videos once a week, every Wednesday. When I dropped them,
Yeah.
and I didn't know if anyone's watching them, to be honest. I didn't upload. Guys, like, no one watches it anyway. I can miss a day. I didn't drop in, and then people like in my messages the next day, oh, what happened to the video? What happened to the video? I was like, oh my bad, I didn't know y'all.
Pardon I. My bad,
My
dog.
bad. Let me go
Wow.
record something real quick.
I'll do it right now.
Literally, like I recorded, edited, and uploaded within the next 2 hours.
Wow.
And
Bro.
yeah, I would say that's kind of where the YouTube thing started.
Yeah, bro. And I remember like when you were kind of in that phase of uploading, I was just like, I was kind of blown away because it was like knowing someone that actually did it, like like is one of your friends, and seeing them actually like upload it, it was crazy, bro. Like you were one of my like inspirations to actually like trying back in the day, when you were doing that. Do you remember the the
Annoying friends.
yes, yes. I have that privated on my other channel because this is
I
not my
love that
first
video,
channel,
bro.
ladies and gentlemen. Bro, I don't like it at all. Not because of you, because of me, bro. I'm just like, I don't remember my voice being that high back then, and then I was just like, my acting was, well, it was, that was questionable. But it did show like the purity of YouTube at that time, right? Like YouTube back then was just for fun. It was
Yeah.
just about enjoying and making a funny video, and you know, just kind of just getting creative, right? Like you did your skits. You also had your gaming videos, your old school Sundays, which I was able to find on another channel that I don't know if you remember exist actually. That was called I think it was I am me team. Is that what it's called? I am team. I have it written down. Yep. I men team. I men team. And
L-Men team.
L men team. I have I.
Men.
L men.
L-Men team.
L men
Yes.
team. Bro,
That was my first YouTube channel.
dude, that's still up. You
Oh,
have
I know.
it's still up. And one of my favorite series that I watch is the Dommy and Bryant show, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 3 to be more specific. Y'all, I mean, the comedy hasn't changed at all. Y'all just grown up. It's just the same comedy, which I love so much. But I mean, you were on YouTube early on, bro. Like you were
I would
really doing your thing.
I would say the Dommy and Bryant show part 3 was probably the first like skit I ever uploaded.
Really?
Because the first two were just we put the camera on, record, and
Yes.
we just did whatever.
And you were like eating
But
a sandwich. So it was
the
great.
third one we were like, okay, I have an idea. Let's execute this.
Bro, it was
And
so
yeah.
well done. It was so well done, bro. And it still holds up. It is hilarious. And even the gaming video on there was great. The reason why I was able to find that was that and you guys were so kind to do this. For my 16th birthday, you, Romaine, and Domi did a birthday video for me. And so you guys sent that to me, which was uploaded on that channel, which was, I mean, I'm glad it was uploaded there because I would have never like remembered that channel and that moment, which I really appreciated back then for sure. Um, but I think one of the characters that I was able to find, and that's actually on your other channel, which was with you know, with yourself, Domi, the twins, TGTMV TV,
Mhm.
was Badman Rastaman. And I forgot how funny Badman Rastaman was. The video was cooking with Badman, and and it was just like you're cooking cookies, but you don't cook anything. You just get a box of Cookie Crisp, and then you just like you literally like pour like I think it was like 6 to like 10 pieces of cereal in the bowl, by the way. And then the funny like your funny moments are when like I mean it was really good. But when you put like the milk, literally for like 10 seconds, you just were like, and they were like, 10 seconds is, excuse me, 10 seconds. You're like, 10 seconds is too long, man. And then you put the microwave. Um, so bro, I guess the another question from like your YouTube area was just like, how'd you come up with all your characters? Obviously, Badman Rastaman was obviously based off of, you know, Jamaican culture. But I can't remember any of your I can't remember a lot of your old characters. So how did you kind of come up with, you know, your ideas and the characters that you present, you know, in your videos?
Badman Rastaman was a character that I just did for like years.
Oh
Like
wow.
anytime anytime I like faked a Jamaican accent, I'd always make my like voice really deep and aggressive. I don't know, like
It was
nothing
great.
Jamaicans, but like it's just what I did. And
Yeah.
then uh I just wanted like a wide array of characters. I didn't want any characters like similar to the other. So
Mm.
I had an Asian character. Uh
Hmm.
I
There's
had
a
a
video up still. I didn't mention that
I
one.
know. uh I had the female character, Brianna.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the original four characters. I had that one video of them all just conversing with each other.
Yeah.
And there's a fifth character named Rave, who was my emo character, but I think they only appeared in like one
Wow.
video. But um, I would I would give Ryan Higa, like Niga Higa,
Mm.
as inspiration for the idea behind that.
Yeah.
But the characters, they're just from drama
Yeah.
practice. Like they were just characters that like that was the first time I actually wrote a script.
Wow.
Was for that I called it Dudazo,
Mm.
uh that video because I was like, oh, how am I gonna record this with changing outfits? I'm gonna dress up, do all the takes in that one outfit, change outfits, and I was like, okay, the only way I'm gonna do that is if I have an actual script.
Right. So you know what
So
you gotta
that
say to the other person.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the first time I actually wrote a script.
Dude, that's awesome. And again, like, man, like you were just doing things that time were just blowing my mind, bro, with YouTube. And honestly, you were like the person I come to for edits. Like whenever I needed like a swag edit, I was just like, Bryant, help. Please help. And kind of like speaking of edits, do you remember your photography business?
Apple juice
Apple
photography.
juice photography, bro. Which actually I still have access to because you made me, I think, admin or something like that. You made like all the boys. I still have access
Really?
to that to this day, bro. I check that. Like, I mean, Facebook says that our page is doing well. I'm just like, I mean, for a page that hasn't posted in like 20 or like 12 years, I
I'm not
think
even
that's
an
a win.
admin on it. Like
Yeah,
it was my first
because
face.
exactly, because your Facebook was taken away, sadly. So, I mean, we still got access to that. So, kind of give me the reasoning for the name. I never knew why you called it Apple Juice Photography, but I mean, the photos on there obviously they still hold up to this day because the quality is still really good. But why'd you call it Apple Juice Photography, bro?
It was a joke. The whole thing was a joke because at the time during that we were calling the swag era,
Yeah.
uh there were dances
Yes, there
that
were.
people of our age went to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you would find photos from these dances uploaded by a page named Juice Photography.
Uh-oh.
So
Which
so and I used to take my camera to just everywhere and I would just snap pictures and I was like, I'll just make this as a joke and I put apple juice photography and I put like an apple with a lens
it
on it. So
was. And then you put like this flare on it. It's just it looked really
yeah, I
good.
put this flare on
It
it.
looked really
But
good.
it was legit a joke. It was like just the few people that will understand that I'm making fun of juice photography.
Exactly.
Like
And
that,
it's like and it was
that was
like
it.
more like the PG version of it
Yeah.
too, which helps as well. But yeah, bro, I mean, again, you were good in photography, you were good in video. It kind of makes sense that you kind of went down that path of YouTube as well. And I think like uh nothing that kind of relates to video and photo with you, but do you remember the nickname you used to call yourself back then? The
Uh,
nickname was Timmy Conch.
oh yeah. I
Timmy
was wondering
Conch.
which one you were talking about.
There,
I went by a few.
that's the one I seen on most of like the old photos, and I remember like that name. I don't know where it stems from, and I don't think I ever knew. I know Conch because like we used to joke around about Conch and Stromba's gigas back then.
Yeah.
That's the scientific name of it. But like, where did that whole name come from, and why Timmy? Because from what I know from your name, even your middle name, I don't see Timmy nowhere.
So the Timmy name comes from my cousin Timmy. I have
Ah.
a cousin, a little cousin named Timmy that I pretty much grew up with me as kind of his older brother. He's like my little brother almost.
Mhm.
And I don't know when I was just thinking of a name, a YouTube name, because I didn't want to go by my actual name at the time.
Mhm.
So I just Timmy, Timmy,
Timmy, Timmy,
Timmy.
Timmy.
I like it. Timmy Conk. I like it. And I just stuck with it.
I love it. Timmy Conch, and then I found like your kind of like your old username was like BKOB. I like Bkob, Bkob. Like
Bob,
that was
the K is
Bob.
silent.
The K is obviously, obviously the K is silent. Bob as well was one of your many nicknames, bro. So many great things from that era, my guy.
Romaine
But
still calls me that.
Bob, He does
because that's what
actually,
I introduced myself to him as.
and he's just never let it go. No,
Let it go.
so we got Bob, we got Timmeh, Conch, and we got just. I mean, I call you Bry a lot, but also Brian also has your name, bro. I love that era, bro. And I think me and you always like reflect on like the past, and so I think it kind of makes sense that we're reflecting now. So I mean, that era, beautiful for what it was. I kind of go back and cringe at it a little bit, but it was such a beautiful time, bro. So I mean, I love that era, and like we kind of mentioned, bro. That's where like we as a team kind of formed and like we came together, and even like if we fast forward to like graduation days, right? Even those two photos that we took, like me and Romaine were at you and Domi's graduation, then you and Dom were at me and Romaine's graduation. You like put those things side by side. It's just like, man, we were really there for each other, even to this day. So that's such a beautiful thing. But before I get off of Kingsway, with every Kingsway folk, and we've had this conversation numerous times, there's nothing new between me and you. I gotta get on the record, man. Favorite KA lunch. Favorite KA lunch. We already know it, but for those who don't know, Monday lunch, chicken sandwich and fries. Tuesday, which you corrected me on, pepper pork chop, which was really good. Wednesday, usually wings and fries. Thursday, tilapia, some rice, things like that. Friday, pepperoni pizza. In your opinion, and to get it on the record and talking to myself history, what is your favorite KA lunch?
Without a doubt, the pepper pork chop with white rice. It's not even close. Like I've went out of my way last year to message the head chef at Kingsway Academy during our time in school to see if he had the recipe. He never got back to me.
But you
Mr.
did.
Johnson. But the message is there with the blue check mark.
Bro, I remember when you were doing that and we were trying to find him on Facebook. And so we went on this search, and for some reason, I don't even remember how I was able to find it. And I sent that thing to you like, here you go, bro. This is your line of opportunity. And you did take your opportunity.
I shot. It missed.
It missed, but you missed 100% of the shots you don't take, bro.
True.
Bro, that was, man. And of course, mine is definitely going to be the chicken sandwich, man. The chicken sandwich, for sure.
People really like that sandwich, eh?
Bro, that saved lives, bro. Like after a hard day of class, like you just need a little bit of grease, man. Just a little bit of grease, a little bit of
I
fries.
thought it was good, but I never thought it was as special as some of our alumni described it.
Bro, that just like touched me personally, bro. Like put some ketchup and mayo on that, and you wash that with a cold bluebird. Oh my gosh. No one was happier than me. Nobody, bro. And that was before that. So that was $4. $4 was $4, bro. So that was like you getting value for your money, bro.
Now I know for me, when I used to get it, I would take the sandwich out of the container, put ketchup and mayonnaise in the container with the fries.
Shake it up.
Shake it.
The shake up technique was well known. That was built at KA, bro.
Exactly. That was the only acceptable way to eat their fries.
Bro, and you would eat the fries first, bro. And I was just like, you gotta leave the fries last, man. But you'd always eat the fries first and then dive into your sandwich, bro.
I still do that to this day. It don't matter what it is.
That's your technique.
Burger King, it don't matter. KFC even the fries before the chicken.
Bro, that was just like such a that KA era, bro. Hard times, good times, everything around it, but it was such a beautiful thing. And I'm very happy that that we all met there. Like I was kind of thinking as well, like kind of like the what if scenario, because so many things had to happen during that time. Like let's say, for example, obviously I would say like in that time, like obviously you and Domi would obviously still be related, so you guys would have been close. But like if I wasn't in AT, then I don't think me and you would have had conversations. We probably wouldn't have bumped in together. And then if Romaine didn't move to the Bahamas and join Kingsway, because he could have gone to any other school if we think about it. Like, I don't know if any other school was in the cards, but he could have gone any other high school, right? So if he didn't come there, then you and him wouldn't have met. And then like you might have kind of mentioned, like that sleepover wouldn't have happened. And then, all these different factors had to come together.
Now, I'll throw another factor in there.
Ooh.
Kingsway was not my first choice. I was already
Oh,
I was going to
really?
St. John.
You were going to St. John's. I never knew that.
I think I'm pretty sure my parents had already paid the first tuition.
Really? So where did the switch happen with Kingsway then? Like, why? How did Kingsway like sneak in there last minute and say, "Hey, come this way"?
Woman.
Ah.
My crush my crush at the time from Fake Temple called me during the summer and said, I'm going to Kingsway. What
Just
school
like
you
that.
going to? And I was like, St. John. And she's like, Kingsway. I was like, I think I need to go to Kingsway. so so I I worked at the waterworks, gone to my parents like all my friends going to Kingsway. I want to go to Kingsway too. Didn't I pass the entry exam?
uh,
That's how I ended up at Kingsway. And then once I got there, me and her ain't never got together. So
I fully appreciate your honesty, bro. Because I did not know that part either. That's why we're
Mhm.
doing this, man. That wow. So many factors had to play in, but here we are today, bro, and it's such a blessing. My goodness. um, wow, that's hilarious. I'm trying to regroup. I didn't expect that one. But kind of switching off of Kingsway now. And so I want you to kind of take me to now. Okay, you've graduated in 2013, and I think it was like May 2013, right? And so
Mhm.
now we're kind of okay. We're in this new phase of life, right? We're like, you would probably be 18 at the time, yeah. Um, it says from your Facebook that you began your studies in computer systems and engineering at COB, now called University of the Bahamas now. Um, During that time in your life, what was kind of your thought processes of where do you think life was going? Like, did you think like, okay, I'm gonna do COB for X amount of like maybe like a year or two, and then I'm gonna see if I could go off to school and see what I can create a future for myself. Like, talk to me in terms of like how you were navigating life at that time, because I think at that time, I wouldn't say our group kind of like fell out in any way, but we were all going in different directions in life. I went to Canada, Romaine, kind of went to the States. Dommy, I can't remember where Dom was. Maybe he was
He was right with
still
me.
still with you there. So like kind of talk to me about like how you were navigating that time, and like what were your kind of thoughts like during those COB days.
So I never wanted to go to COB.
Okay.
I made that very clear to my
Yeah.
parents that
Mm-hmm.
I had zero interest in ever going there.
Yeah.
Um, but both of my parents agreed, and I ended up seeing their side years later that I was not ready to go to the States or to Canada or just leave the
Mm-hmm.
country on my own in general. I was not mature enough yet.
Mm.
So uh, I think Kingsway graduation prerequisite is that you apply for COB.
Mm.
I think that's a graduation prerequisite
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
don't remember ever applying for that school, but all of a
Right.
sudden I was going. So
Wow.
I was there for 2 years. I went
Mm.
to be the first year I took it kind of serious as like, okay, this is college.
College.
This is like college, man. Like,
Yeah.
and they kind of COB had this thing where they kind of like tried to push that narrative too, where like this is college. We teachers don't care if you show up or whatever, and like,
Mm.
okay, this is different.
Big
This is
dog.
a
Big league.
yeah, this big league, and yeah, the first semester I took it kind of serious. I took my grades serious, and I was like, as time went on, as I noticed that this was a waste of time, and
Oh.
so I started missing more and more classes to play
Mm.
those and hang out, and yeah, I was like, this isn't going anywhere. I don't see a future here. And then
Mm,
that's when I spoke to my dad and I
mm,
told him, I was like, this isn't making any sense. This is a
mm,
waste of time.
mm.
And yeah, something happened with me and my mom, and she was like, you're still not ready to go off to
Yeah.
school. So so my dad gave me the ultimatum. He's like, all right, are you gonna continue going to COB, or are you going to work in like work for a year and see if you're if we feel that you're mature enough to
Mm,
get sent to schools? And I said, COB doesn't make any sense. This is a waste of my time. I'm gonna go
yeah.
work.
Mm,
Um, and that's when I ended up working at Atlantis for a year. And by the end of the year, they felt I was ready, and that's how I ended up in Canada.
wow. I mean, beautiful story. I mean, like I don't I remember when we were kind of talking about that way back when, like, you know, you had aspirations to go off to school. I don't know if you decided if it was Canada yet, but I know you really wanted to go off. And so, you know, we had those conversations of like, you know, praying for you, hoping that you actually got that. And so I remember when you finally got that opportunity to go off, I was just like, man, this man deserves it, bro. This man has been working like literally and you know mentally as well to kind of like finally get there and you know to kind of like show your parents like I'm serious. I mean that's such a beautiful thing, bro. I guess like also like during that time, like what was it, do you think it was difficult to kind of like trust God during that time, especially in the season that you're in? You know, like obviously, like you know where you want to be, and you kind of see like this is where I want to be, but I'm here, and I don't really like it. Like, kind of talk to me about like you know your relationship with God during that time in your life. Like, would you say you were close? Were you far away? Was it challenging? Was it easy? Like, where were you at, kind of in your faith during that time?
Now, to be honest with you, I that time period, that COB to leaving the Canada time period, I probably have never been further away from
Wow.
God.
Mm.
Um, I don't want to necessarily say I was with a bad crowd,
Mm-hmm.
because they were good people, but
Mm-hmm.
I was with the bad crowd.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I still was going to church. I was still in church twice a week. Um, drama, regular Sunday church.
Regular attendance, yeah.
Yeah, and it was I just was doing things that weren't Christ-like.
Yeah.
So, um, I would say that that time period I was probably furthest, because I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't
Mm.
praying. Maybe I might pray for my food, like
Yeah. For the
if
cookies.
I remember, like I'll probably be halfway finished and like, oh, amen,
Mm-hmm.
and whilst I'm chewing. But
Yeah.
uh, my faith, if we kind of separate, I don't know, I never lost faith in
Mm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt as though if it's His will, it will happen,
Mm.
and if I put in the work, then he might be more obliged, I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
if the right word to
Yeah.
use. Because they say faith without works is
It's
dead.
death. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
uh yeah, I just that time period was I would say that's a dark period in my life.
Yeah.
And at the time I didn't realize how dark it was
Yeah.
as
Absolutely.
as it was happening.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I could kind of relate to that time too. It's just like, you know, through those like early like 20s, it's just like you're kind of figuring out who you are, right? You know, you're just like, okay, um, you know, like you kind of mentioned, I've been going to church. I've been involved in many different parts of the church, but just like my life is kind of not like showing that, when it's just like kind of like you mentioned, maybe like it'd be like, the crowd you're around, or, what you're kind of watching to, or, what's kind of like important to you at that time, like so many different factors could kind of play into that time. And I think um, when I kind of think about times like that, like kind of like you mentioned, the maybe like I guess the darker times of my life when I was further away from God, I sometimes think like um I think the Lord, and kind of like the parable of the lost son is just like, I think the Lord allows us to kind of go on these paths that we don't necessarily knew we were going to be on, right? But when it's
Mm,
time for us to come back, he's there with open arms.
mhm.
And the reason why I wanted to get your take on where your faith was at the time was that when you went off to Niagara, bro, through like 2017 to 2019, I noticed a huge shift in your life. Like a huge shift. I was just like, wow, you were affecting me. I remember um like the team, as we've kind of discussed, we have a group chat that we've had over 12 years, right? And so I don't remember what message it was, but you were like really dedicated to Christ, and you were really dedicated to your faith. And I mean, that was really inspiring for me. Like you were like changing up um your music, and all these different things. This is just like you like coming out of a new shell, if you will, right? Kind of
Mm.
talk to me about like what happened during that time. Obviously you went off to school, and you started at Niagara College. What brought you back to rededicating yourself to Christ, and like going through that shift? Like what was like the key moments that you could kind of point out that kind of said like this was the reason why?
Um, when I moved to Canada, uh, I met my wife
Mm.
to be,
Mm-hmm.
um, and she was the president of the Christian club
Oh
at our
wow.
college.
Big
So
influence.
so she invited me to
Wow.
come join them for a night. So I came, and uh we're she had this youth pastor at a church that
Mm-hmm.
she was friends with, that allowed us to have our meetings at the church, and he would share, and I just kind of observed for a while, and
Mm.
it started the click to me that the way Christianity is in the Bahamas, for most people, will not get them into heaven.
Mm.
That's a tough pill to
That's a
swallow.
that's a tough pill.
Like, I thought I was good, bro. Like, I'm going to church. I'm doing these plays for the kids, and on the
Mm.
drama team, ministering to people in the streets and stuff. And I was not there at all. As I started going there, and the Christian uh group on campus, and I started going to church with my wife to be, Petra.
Mm.
um it just gave me a different outlook on what is Christianity, what is this walk with God, what is a relationship with God. And it just clued into me that I need to be better. Like,
Mm.
I not just for me, not just for
But
my sake, but if I want to be a husband, the man of a house, I need to step up my
mm.
relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And another little piece to that is our friend Dommy.
Whew.
Uh, he kind of went through this a similar metamorphosis as well.
He
'Cause
did, and I
he
noticed that
started
too.
like he started going to this other church, and he just dove like all of his toes in, like
10,
and
15, 20 toes deep, bro.
and although I'm the older one between us, I sort of look at him as as an older brother in a way, not
Wow.
a lot of years, but like just okay, you're doing it like that. Maybe I'll maybe I'll do it like that too. And that's where the music thing came from
Yeah.
because his household doesn't listen to anything
Mm-hmm.
secular. And I was just like, I mean, I get it, but
Mm-hmm.
not even some Justin Bieber?
Digits of
Like,
JB. We love
like,
JB for sure. Yeah.
but I was like, let me give myself that challenge
Yeah.
of let me don't listen to anything secular. And I messaged him, I was like, send me a playlist.
Oh yeah.
Send me a playlist, and I will only listen to that playlist for the next month. And that was it. And uh with that, with doing that, my vocabulary changed. I didn't feel the need to swear.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time this was happening, this was during the pandemic.
Yes.
Um,
2020.
COVID had just started, and I
Oof.
decided what better time than now to read my entire Bible.
Oof.
And I looked up
Cooking.
I looked up as like, has someone like pieced together the Bible chronologically? Not
Mm.
Genesis straight to Revelation,
They
but
should, but
as
things
things
happen.
happened in real
Mm-hmm.
time. And they did, and I followed it that way because it was I found it more enjoyable to read it that way. So it
Wow.
was kind of like, well, the first little bit obviously is the first books, like that's what's happening, that's the first thing's happening. But then
Right.
jumping back and forward through different books of the Bible as things are happening, especially when you get the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, which are
Mm.
essentially the same stories,
Mm-hmm.
but taken from different accounts. And when I got to that point, you read one story from one person, then you go to the next person's account of the same exact story. And yeah, so I end up reading the entire Bible in its entirety, changed my listening habits. And yeah, it was just a light bulb just went off that
That's beautiful.
I wasn't living the right life.
Man. I knew a gem was gonna come from that, but that was a game, bro. That was a gem and a half. First off, thank you for sharing that beautiful testimony. I mean, oh, how important it is to be surrounded by the right crowd. You know, like
Mm,
environment is so important. And like, I mean, obviously it says in the Bible, iron sharpens iron. And boy, was there some iron sharpening in 2020. Um, when you were kind of talking about your story, bro, I was thinking about how you guys were affecting me during that time. And so when I think back to 2020, um, as you kind of know, I went through my CPA process for my studies and all that stuff. Um, but during that same year, I rededicated myself to Christ because I don't even remember why, but I was just like, I kind of felt like I needed to, right? I felt like I needed to to go back to him because I was going through a rough time with them exams and I was just going through just so much during that year. I mean, we all were, right? And so for me back then, it was just like the only like you did music, I did movies for some reason. Like I still needed to bump some music back then. I'm still on my journey with music as well, but like I remember like I could only watch animated films. That I don't know if you remember, but like I asked the group
I
like
do.
I actually what's some good animated films because I couldn't watch nothing else. I was just like I was going through so much of the time in terms of like adjusting my heart and my mind to so many to Christ and just trying to see what I needed to do at that time. But you know, like 2020 was the year of sharpening iron, man. Y'all really inspired me. Really and truly. You and Dom, like from the shifts in y'all life that you guys did, that really inspired me to change as well, you know, and so I just want to say thank you for that, bro. Like, you guys really had an effect on me during the time, still do, with how you guys kind of move throughout this thing we called life. But during that time, bro, man, I'm so grateful for the shifts that we as a group went through. And each one of us went through our own individual journeys, bro. So thank you for that, man. Oh, I knew you were gonna give me some game, bro, and that's just beautiful game. Um, but I guess in that same topic, bro, um, there is this, and maybe it's not as big as it used to. This idea that as men, um, that we don't talk feelings and emotions, right? That we kind of keep that all in. We gotta be, tough as nails, attitude area, WWE,
Mhm.
and not kind of talk about the things we going through. I personally think that our group broke that years ago. Years
Yep.
ago. We've been talking about how we've been feeling since we came together from 2012. It's 2024, ladies and gentlemen. We've been doing this for a while. And I really want your thoughts on that. Um, as men, why do you think it's important that we have our boys to go to when we need to talk out emotions? I've talked so many emotions with you, everything under the sun, and you talk to me about so many things that you're going through, and I always tell you how much I appreciate it, because it does mean a lot to me, and it's so needed to get those things off your chest. Talk to me how important you think that is, that we do as men. Like, why do you think that's so important? And why do you think we were able to develop that over time?
I think it's extremely important that uh men don't hold back their feelings.
Mm,
We're just as human as anyone else. Like,
yeah.
we have emotions, we have feelings, um, and you bottle it up, it's not going to be, it's not good. Like,
No, it's not.
eventually, it's going to make an exit somewhere, and
Somewhere, bro.
at times it's towards a loved one that
Mm,
mean it. You don't mean to cause them any harm, not
exactly.
even physically, but like uh
Just,
mentally. Like, you might
yeah.
just say something that you didn't mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know where this notion of men having to keep things to themselves came from, because if you look at the Bible, pretty much the whole thing is men giving out their emotions. Like, Psalms is, you read through Psalms, it's just David in song form laying it all out
Laying it all out there. Woo.
for like 100 and something chapters.
Just all day.
Book of Job, uh it's him talking to his boys about things that are going wrong in his life, and they're trying to like
Mm.
console him and whatnot. So from like the beginning, and Job is one of the oldest books in the Bible, by the way. So
Ooh.
from almost the beginning of time, uh man has been shown that they need to get
Talk
their
it out.
emotions out. They
Yeah.
got to talk it out. And I think for our group, um I've never really been the type of person to like hold back what I want to say.
No, you have not.
And I guess you said earlier that I'm kind of like the connector.
Mm.
Um, so I kind of just laid that foundation for us, I guess,
It's a
that
beautiful thing, man. Mm.
if I'm okay saying my feelings, then next guy feels okay saying their feelings, and then
Absolutely.
everyone's okay. Like, there's no need to there's no need to feel ashamed of anything. This is an
Whew.
open space. Like,
Open conversation.
just just say what was on your mind.
Absolutely. And man, I couldn't tell you how thankful and grateful that I am that I got homies that I could not talk to, but could talk to. Like, it is such a blessing to have a group of boys that you could just relate to, that you could, any topic. It could be good, bad, in between. Doesn't matter. We could talk about it. and we're gonna get there. We're gonna solve things, and we work through things, man. I prayed for you about stuff. You prayed for me about stuff, and that's what a friendship should be, right? It should
Mm,
be where we're, helping each other up, lifting each other up. We all, like the song says, we all need someone to lean on. But
mhm,
it's so good to have people that you can trust and people that you could really relate to and know where their hearts are. And that's such an
mm.
important thing too. Like it all goes back to kind of like what you mentioned earlier, like having the right group of people around you, your environment, such a key thing, man. Such a key thing. So I'm so grateful, just for the beautiful environment that we've built over these years, man. Such a beautiful thing. Such a
Same.
beautiful thing. Um, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, and we're gonna shift topics a little bit, bro. You're married. Beautiful thing.
Hmm.
Beautiful thing. From what I know, this year's gonna make 5 years of marriage.
Correct.
Where did the time go? Where did the time
Yes,
go?
COVID.
Wait, COVID is correct. That took like 2 years, literally two, almost 3 years of our lives, bro. That went by so quickly. And I remember just standing in your wedding, bro. That was such a beautiful day and a beautiful ceremony that you had. Um, for the and I'm not married yet. I have aspirations to get married, of course, and want to have a family, want to be a husband, want to have kids, the whole shebang, right? Um, as someone who's been married for 5 years, I wanted to know, like, what are some of the most important things you learned from marriage, bro? Like, I was listening to a podcast today about, like, you know how different a like relationship is from a marriage. Obviously, they're similar because you're gonna continuously learn about the person, but like they're two totally different things. And so I want to just know from your experience, like, what are some of the most important things you learned from being married for 5 years so far?
um, that you're going to have difficult times,
That's a bar. There is.
and that's okay.
Mm,
You're you have made a commitment to your significant other that you're there for the good and the bad,
mm,
and between you two and God, you can get past anything. Um, I would say that's been the biggest lesson for my marriage so far because we have been through it. Not
mm-hmm.
going at each other, not like
But,
that.
mm-hmm.
Together, us two, we've always been good. We always are able to talk. We don't argue or anything. We don't go
Mm,
at each other's throats. We're able to just anything happen, we
mm.
can speak it out. But like external things,
Oh yeah,
been it's been quite the 5 years.
it has.
Um, with the pandemic, switching provinces,
Oof.
switching jobs, and living at my in-laws' house, and
Wow.
all that stuff. But yeah, I know everyone said before you get married, never go to bed angry.
Mm.
That's true
Mhm.
because you will physically feel it the
Wow.
next day. Like you will just, you know how the cartoons had like the dark cloud over your head
Oh
and
yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
grumpy. Like
Just
yeah,
angry.
that's a real thing.
Wow.
That hasn't happened often. I could probably count on one finger the amount of times that's happened, but it
Mhm.
is definitely a thing to keep in mind whenever that time comes for you and for anyone else watching.
Yeah.
Don't go to bed angry at each other. Always talk it out. You're
Mm.
there, like you've chosen them.
Yeah.
They are there for as long as you two live.
Wow.
Um, divorce is not an option. Work it out.
Ooh. You going against the world, my friend. You have just gone against the world because
It
that's
is
what
what
the
it is.
because that's what the world is telling us, man. Like divorce, end it
It's for the
all.
weak.
It's for ooh. he going against the world, ladies and gentlemen. Bryant Shepherd, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I mean, and that is what the world is saying, right? It's like, okay, we're going through a rough patch. Let's call it quits. Let's end this thing. Let's let's try to let's just be apart. You know what I mean? And
now, mind you, there are times where divorce is necessary.
Well, yes, and obviously,
and it can't be helped.
mm-hmm.
But for the most part,
mm-hmm.
able to talk it out, work things out.
Yeah.
Even if you a little bit of space, just blow off some steam, but don't let it be too long, because then you get into your head, the devil gets into your head.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
that's a very important point, bro. Very important point. And I was, and also on the kind of like the podcast I was listening to today, it kind of talked about the importance of like even like marriage counseling, right? Like churches offer marriage counseling, or even having that go-to person that you talk to, whether it could be for some people it could be like we said, marriage counselor, or even like family member, like mom, dad, friend, someone you trust. Not everybody need to know all your business that you're going through, but I think it's also important to have that kind of like third party, if you will, whereby you kind of like sometimes if you need to talk things out. But like you said, right, I think it's more important to like have that one-on-one communication with your husband, with your wife, and kind of like solve things there. So thank you for that, bro. That's a beautiful answer.
and to be honest with you, I don't have a third party. Any problem, I go straight to my wife.
Straight to, and I think maybe that's even the best scenario, right? Like go directly. I can see where that's how you build a marriage, though, right? If you can't talk to the person that you're married to, then what are you doing? You have to be able to have that conversation, right? Even when it's not fun.
Going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Very uncomfortable sometimes, right?
You don't want to do it when it's right on your mind.
Oh yeah,
because
that's
you
emotion.
might say some stuff that you don't mean. But when you have a level head, you can properly say what you want to say.
Right.
Address it.
Yeah. So sometimes, like kind of like you mentioned, like stepping back, maybe go outside, shoot some hoops, go on a little drive, get some food, calm down, get past like the emotion part of it, so you can kind of get back to the brain, then you can kind of like think logically. Beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Thank you for that. And we've talked about so many different topics, bro, and I appreciate you being able to analyze so many parts of your life. And kind of, I guess, just my final question for you. You've been through so much in these. Well, this year will make 29 years when your birthday comes around. What are some things you would tell young Bryant, like your younger self? If you could go back in time and be like, younger self, listen here, man. Don't stress, blah, 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 whatever it is. It could be like a couple points of stance, whatever it is. As we kind of end this next episode of the Journey series, like, what would young Bryant, what would you tell young Bryant?
Appreciate the experiences. Everything that happens has happened for a reason. Even the bad things that have happened to you, the things that you may regret, they have happened for a reason. And you will get to where you're supposed to be. The Lord will always guide you, and you will be in his hands.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the times. Appreciate what you went through. Even if it was bad, the Lord will bring you to where you need to be. Bryant, I just want to say thank you, man. This has been such an amazing episode. If there's any company or anything you want to plug, whether it be yourself, if people want to find you, because hey, we need this guy back on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying we need him back. He is so talented at what at what he does. He is so good. And so, Brian,
I have
I
thought
just.
about.
Oh, you thought about? Oh,
I
you,
have thought about it.
bro,
Maybe a comeback. Maybe
bro.
I've been talking about it.
Ooh, just something for the kids, man. Just
Something.
one more skit. Just one more skit we need, or 5 or 6. Or a whole year's worth of videos. But we'll take it. We'll take it one day at a time. So, Bryant, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 33, I believe. And so, thank you all so much for listening and watching and tuning in. Of course, subscribe. And as always, and until the next one, we move. I'm gonna see y'all later. Goodbye. Woo!
Oof.
Yes, sir.